Idaho.
Mr. President, first of all, I want to return the favor to Senator Shaheen. There's so much written and talked about today in the media about a poisoned atmosphere up here and a lack of bipartisanship. And I can tell you that working with Senator Shaheen on the Small Business Committee has been an honor and a privilege, and it certainly has been anything but troublesome. We work together closely. We have, both of us having been former governors, understand how important that small businesses are to our states, in fact, to all the states. So with that, I'd like to spend a few minutes with the concurrence of the ranking member to honor America's small businesses and their owners and the impact that they have on our economy and our communities and the vital role small businesses play in America today. America's small businesses are truly the engine that keeps our economy running. They create 2 out of every 3 jobs in America. Now let me say that again. Small businesses create 2 out of every 3 new jobs that are created in America today. Our Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship knows that Congress has a responsibility to help this engine roar by getting the government out of the way of our nation's small businesses, and thus providing small businesses with the opportunity to do what they have done to make this the greatest country in the world for the last 240 years. We know that small businesses are vital to our economy, employing nearly half the American workforce and making up 99.7% of all employers in this country. It is because small businesses are so important to our economy that Washington needs to do all we can for businesses to start, more importantly, to survive and to grow. We have seen a steady and well-documented decline in startups and a persistently low GDP over the past decade. Despite this, small businesses' optimism has hit record high levels in recent months. Small business owners are more confident than ever. National Small Business Week, this week, is a fitting time to not only celebrate our nation's small businesses, but also to assure them that greater relief is coming. Congress and the new administration are working hand in hand to undo the regulatory burden that has been hampering small business growth. It's no secret that excessive regulatory burden that our nation's entrepreneurs face places them at a disadvantage. We hear this every day from our position on the Small Business Committee. When asked what the biggest challenge they face is, it is almost always the regulatory burden that they're operating under. America's small business owners want to comply with a reasonable and appropriate regulatory structure. However, the time and money they spend complying with layers of regulations from a myriad of agencies hampers their ability to focus on what truly matters, and that, of course, is running their business. My Senate colleagues and I will continue to work with the administration on rolling back regulations that don't make sense, while taking a closer look at other issues facing the diverse small business community. Just last week, Senator Shaheen and I held a hearing on the many challenges that exist for rural entrepreneurs. As it turns out, these challenges are not much different than those that exist for entrepreneurs in more populous areas, except the challenges are amplified for business owners who operate without broadband internet or a traditional storefront on Main Street. The shared challenges amongst most entrepreneurs, such as access to capital, trade opportunities, and cybersecurity threats, among others, are at the forefront of the minds of those of us in Congress who are committed to delivering the relief that small business owners have been waiting for. Despite these challenges, America's 28 million small business owners and their employees set out every day to pursue their dreams and contribute to their communities. Their entrepreneurial spirit is nothing short of inspiring. I want to give an example from Idaho. In fact, more than one example from Idaho, but I'd like to yield to Senator Shaheen at this moment for her comments and perhaps to tell us a little bit about what she took away from that meeting we had just recently on rural small businesses.
Well, thank you, Senator Risch. As you point out, we were both governors, and so we've had a chance to see small businesses from the perspective of the state and how states can be involved in supporting small businesses, but you and I also have been small business owners and operators ourselves. My husband and I had a family-owned seasonal retail business. You operated a family-run ranch in Idaho, and so I'm sure you share with me the challenges of small business owners, the things that kept me awake at night, and I know keep other small business owners awake. Meeting payroll, balancing budgets, attracting workers, finding customers, complying with local, state, and federal regulations. And as you pointed out, and I certainly agree, our committee works in a bipartisan way to not only on supporting public policy to help small businesses, but also supporting the Small Business Administration, which has programs that help nurture our small businesses and address their unique concerns. And on Monday, I visited one of those small businesses. I was kicking off Small Business Week in New Hampshire, and I visited a company in Dover, which is a neighboring community to where I live. The company is called Pops Up, spelled just like it sounds. It's a family-owned business that created an innovative microwave popcorn box without harsh chemicals, plastic, or silicone. And the company's popcorn that goes in that box is environmentally friendly. It comes from American farms that don't use GMO products. And it's great. They also have all of these seasonings that go on the popcorn, everything from a seasoning that's called Everything Bagel to one that's maple syrup. So it's a unique company, and their founders, Julie and Marty Lapham, launched the company in 2015. And they've gotten a lot of support from the small business development centers in New Hampshire. In fact, Julie told me about preparing for a Shark Tank style competition that she was participating in, and how she got tremendous help from the SBDC in her presentation. She said, without that help, I wouldn't have been able to do it, and she actually won first prize in the competition, $10,000, because the SBDC had helped her sort through financing options, and she continues to work with them. She and her husband continue to work with them as they grow the company. And so I think as we look at Small Business Week this week, it's important to also recognize the great work that SBA does with outstanding entrepreneurs from all 50 states and territories. So I know you have some similar examples of small businesses in Idaho.
Well, thank you, Senator Shaheen. We do. And I want to tell a story of an example of the inspiring spirit that small businesses bring to us. And this is a story of a small family business in Idaho Falls, Idaho. It's called FinFun. Yes, FinFun, just like it sounds. And it began when its founder, Karen Browning, was asked to make a mermaid tail costume for her granddaughter. Now that sounds like a not very ostentatious beginning, but it was a beginning. This simple request was the catalyst of a much larger operation that has experienced a 3,000% growth over a 3-year period. And now employing 75 full and part-time employees in eastern Idaho. The Browning family contribute greatly to the community and make all of us in Idaho proud with their continued success, having been named by the SBA as Idaho's Small Business of the Year. Stories like FinFun underscore the optimism that can be found in all corners of our country as small business owners everywhere take the large leap into the American dream. I ask all senators to join me this week in supporting and thanking the small businesses in our home states all across America. Senator Shaheen and I, of course, have, as part of the jurisdiction of our committee, the oversight responsibility with the SBA. And I've been very impressed over the years as to the focus of the SBA on small businesses. One of the things I think Senator Shaheen shares with me is supporting an increase in the Office of Advocacy. We all know that the federal government passes regulations at a stunning rate, which most people really don't completely understand. But the job of the Office of Advocacy is to act as an independent voice for small businesses when the federal government actually proposes a regulation. And the Office of Advocacy is supposed to stand up and say, wait a minute, let me tell you how this is going to affect small businesses. Now, we all know that if the federal government in any one of the agencies enacts a regulation, it does affect businesses of different size differently. Indeed, if it's a large business, they generally have an army of lawyers and of compliance officers and accountants who can deal with the regulations relatively easily and absorb the costs. On the other hand, if it's a 1 or 2 or 3 person business, just filling out the forms that the agencies require is sometimes a real burden. And it's important that this Office of Advocacy in the SBA be encouraged, be expanded where possible, and be a real, true, independent voice for small business in America. And I know Senator Shaheen shares my enthusiasm for continuing to support that enterprise within the SBA. I am always happy to work with any of my colleagues to make it easier for Americans to start and grow a business. Happy National Small Business Week, and thank you to our nation's entrepreneurs and small business owners who are the real backbone of our nation and our economy. Senator Shaheen, I'll yield to you.
Thank you very much, Senator.